It's a new year, and with it comes new hope for England. There's the small matter of the World Cup to qualify for over the coming months, and there's a big celebration as the FA celebrates its 150th anniversary. Glamorous ties litter the fixture calendar throughout 2013. It doesn't get much bigger than Brazil. The Samba Stars are in town. For Roy Hodgson's men, it's about getting the team right, though, ahead of more meaningful challenges just around the corner. Well, no surprise that there's a colourful atmosphere around Wembley Stadium this evening. The biggest name in international football certainly have huge support wherever they play. But there's plenty of hope that the home side can achieve their first victory against the 5 times World Cup winners since Gary Lineker got the goal at the old Wembley almost 23 years ago. Welcome to the FA's 150-year celebrations as Roy Hodgson's England take on Luis Felipe Scolari's Brazil, an international fixture to really whet the appetite. So England are here. They had a longer journey than usual to the ground from a new base in a central London hotel, with all the players and the staff, however experienced, are excited about facing Brazil. Felipe Scolari is back as Brazil's boss after 10 years away. Brazil certainly have great players. His job is to turn them into a team. And he's called on one or two old favourites like Ronaldinho, who's back in favour after a year out. A test for England's younger guard like Chris Smalling of Manchester United and Jack Wilshere of Arsenal. For the first time ever, England field 2 international centurions, Steven Gerrard and Ashley Cole. Tonight a landmark achievement for the England left-back. And in the pre-match press conference, both the manager and the captain united in their praise for Ashley Cole and his service to the England national team.
I look at the players that I've played with throughout my career, and he's certainly been probably the most consistent player I've played with in an England shirt, and at times he's probably proven he's one of the best left backs in the world. He's given everything he's got inside his body to try and make the supporters happy and to try and bring success for the supporters, so I believe he deserves a fantastic reception.
I'm just pleased at the moment that Ashley's still the Ashley Cole we all know and respect and admire. Just about to play his 100th game for the national team, and Leighton Baines, who doesn't have the same number of caps, is actually there breathing down his neck and making his performances, if you like, maintain their high level, because Ashley's not stupid. He knows he's got big competition for places, but that's how it should be. If we're ever going to really have a top-class England team, there'll be that level of competition everywhere throughout the team.
It's exciting times. I think the FA have produced some fantastic fixtures for us players, and certainly ones that are going to whet the appetite. So we start against Brazil, who are fantastic opposition. I know it's a friendly match, but we want to win this game and go into the 2 important qualifiers in March in good form.
We think it's a great way to start 2013 and our 150th anniversary. And we'll be doing our very best to play well and get a result. But finally, it's still a question for me of making certain that I know come March what our best team is and what players will play best together.
Well, a big welcome to you all to this showpiece with a real purpose for both England and Brazil. And a big welcome to Stuart Robson alongside me. Stuart, this is obviously stands alone because of the history, if you like, of the 2 nations, but it's preparatory as well, and these preparations are getting more urgent for both countries.
Absolutely. I mean, Brazil, they haven't had to play any qualifiers to get to their own World Cup, so they're trying to, with a new manager, they're trying to get the right shape, the right players into the side, get the right pattern of play. That's what they're looking for, and England doing the same. And it looks under Roy Hodgson is they're now trying to develop their game from what we saw in the European Championships. He didn't have long to prepare for that, so he had to be fairly defensive. Now he's starting to show and expand the team and the way they're going to play.
So Steven Gerrard, who has played every minute of every Premier League game for Liverpool this season, which hasn't been the case in the past because of his difficulties with injuries, sometimes kept him out of the England setup as well, but he has now passed the 100-cap mark in that last England game, which was a disappointing one in Sweden, a defeat by 4 goals to 2, and now they face Scolari, the scourge of England, knocking them out of 3 consecutive tournaments, twice with Portugal, of course, and prior to that, the 2002 World Cup, dismissing England from that competition on their way to what remains the last of their 5 World Cup successes. And he's helped by another World Cup winning coach, the technical director Carlos Alberto Pereira, who's still around in the month of his 70th birthday.
We are waiting for the...
David Luiz of Chelsea captains Brazil here in his football home, the city of London. England have had a pretty hurried schedule of preparation for tonight, fitting in some training sessions around a gala awards night on Sunday, a PR exercise and a train journey south from Birmingham yesterday, and a stay in a central London hotel last night where a 10:15 p.m. fire alarm went off unscheduled, so evacuation into the team bus actually. But they all got plenty of sleep after that. Neither country has played since November, and they are ready to get the respective New Year's underway for their 2 nations. 23 previous meetings, England have won only 3. 2 at the old Wembley in 1956, the first time the countries ever met, and in 1990. And Bobby Charlton, how poignant is this on the 55th anniversary of the Munich air crash at Manchester United, February the 6th, 1958, which he survived, but sadly many England players perished. And who knows, Stuart, we might not be talking about Brazil as they are today. That 58 World Cup, England had a very good side until February the 6th of that particular year.
Outstanding side, and Bobby Charlton was key to that. And what a career he went on to have, not just as a player, but as an ambassador for the game. Brilliant player, played centre forward. He was one of the first deep line centre forwards, wasn't he, of his that we all talk about now. He scored goals, he led his team, and had he not been brought off against Germany, or West Germany as they were, then in the 1970 World Cup, maybe England could have won that one as well.
Behind David Luiz, David Bernstein, who's soon to retire as the chairman of the Football Association. Brazil unbeaten in their last 8 meetings with England. Although in 5 of those games, England did take the lead. Peter Shilton there as well, England's most capped player. So we're set after the handshakes for the national anthems and the mementos there. Ashley Cole and Steven Gerrard.
To commemorate his 100th cap for his country tonight.
Well, this is an interesting presentation for Ronaldinho. In Brazil, they're saying it's his 100th cap, but statisticians around the world will disagree with that, because Brazil count internationals against club sides, which do not go down as grade A matches. But that's not to take anything away from a wonderful player. But officially, it's 95. And if he plays well tonight, he might get the official 100.
Tonight, England side players too.
But there's no disputing the England awards of a similar nature.
We're able to welcome another player into the 100 cap Hall of Fame. Last November in Sweden, Steven Gerrard became only the 6th Englishman to have represented.
Stephen Gerrard was number 6 to reach the 100, and Peter Shilton will have a few well-chosen words there. They are united in that very, very exclusive club.
And he wasn't a bad goalkeeper, was he, Peter Shilton? One of the very best.
Sergeant Major Terry Rafferty, MC from the Rivals. Wembley, ladies and gentlemen, the England captain, Stephen Gerrard. Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding and respect the national anthems performed by the band of the Grenadier Guards.
It is time for the national anthems. So we're almost set to go.
So once again introducing the two teams starting in
England last played in November, beaten 4-2 in Sweden. 5 changes from that lineup, with defender Chris Smalling of Manchester United winning his first cap for a year, and Arsenal's Jack Wilshere ending a 20-month absence from the starting lineup. Theo Walcott, Wayne Rooney and Ashley Cole himself also returns.
When England are in possession, the front three will continue to rotate their positions, as will the midfield three. Fullbacks will also get forward as often as possible. However, out of possession, they will need to regain their shape quickly. This means that the centre-half, Smalling and Cahill, will need to have good games in terms of their reading of danger, organising those in front and dealing with threatening situations.
Brazil announced their team yesterday. It includes 4 London-based players in Queen's Park Rangers goalkeeper Julio Cesar and the Chelsea trio of David Luiz, who passed a test on a calf strain, Ramirez and Oscar. Ronaldinho, the last survivor of the World Cup 2002 when he scored and then got sent off in the quarter-final win over England, is back in the fold after a year without international football, with the first cap at the age of 29 for the Bayern Munich defender Dante.
Key for Brazil will be their 2 holding midfield players, Ramirez and Paulino. How well they win back possession, protect their centre-halves, will determine the effectiveness of Brazil's front 4. Ronaldinho will come in field from the left, while Neymar will move around to seek possession. Watch out for the forward runs of Dani Alves at right back.
the referee this evening from Portugal, Pedro Proença. His assistant referees, Martino.
So the 2 Centurions are ready to go. England have actually won just one of their last 4 internationals, and that was against the Minnows of San Marino. Brazil, well, they're very much globetrotters these days. They've played internationals in London in recent times at Arsenal, Tottenham and Fulham, as well as at derby in the Midlands. Their one previous game here in the new Wembley finished 1-1 in 2007, Brazil equalising in added time. Scolari, of course, turned down the chance to manage England, but opened the door for the future maybe with some generous words yesterday about the job. There's a bit of a surprise about the choice of referee, in that, not in a lack of stature, Pedro Proença, one of the best around, but he is Portuguese, and I think he was surprised. He's never refereed Brazil before. The closeness, of course, historically, of Portugal and Brazil. He does speak English, so generally there'll be no language problems for his control of the match. Julio Cesar, one of those recalled to the colours by Scolari after an uncertain start in London with Queen's Park Rangers. He'd been in very good form recently. Well, before the game gets underway, tributes paid to the anniversary of the Munich air crash and the recent tragedy in Brazil, fire in the Santa Maria area.
We remember also that 20 years ago England lost its great World Cup winning captain Bobby Moore. They will never be forgotten. The referee will blow his whistle to indicate the start and finish of the period of silence.
Almost total respect. We're ready to go. England ranked 6th in the world. Brazil have dropped to 18th, Stuart. It's a real surprise. That's one reason why Mano Menezes, the previous coach, has lost his job, and the call went out to Scolari. Luis Fabiano and Neymar ready to get the game underway. Ronaldinho has had a Indian summer really back in Brazil. One of the smaller clubs, Atletico Mineiro. He's become a footballer again rather than a celebrity, and that could mean problems for England. Very chilly weather-wise, but too much in terms of recent rain to affect the surface here at the new Wembley, where they've had problems in the past, but not so much recently. David Luiz. England certainly feel that they have the pace in the side to trouble Brazil at the back. Take for the first touch for Chris Smalling. Glenn Johnson is the right back, Cahill alongside Smalling, and Joe Hart giving a little Brazilian trick of his own to Ronaldinho. Nice one.
And a good switch of play as well from Joe Hart. You see Brazil tried to press the ball with Ronaldinho. Fabiano went and pressed it quickly. England allowing Brazil to come out from the back with the ball.
Ramirez making a bit of ground. Has some good Wembley memories already. Scored in the FA Cup semi-final and the final for Chelsea last season. He's let that ball go under his foot. It's collected by Rooney. Jack Wilshere's been in excellent form since his return to Arsenal's colours. A good advantage played by the referee. Rooney might be in, but David Luiz just repositioned in front of him to concede the corner, but cut out the initial point of danger after Wilshire's surge.
Well, that's what he does so well, running with the ball past players. Invites challenges, but what a good run it was as well from Wayne Rooney, trying to get in between the full-back and the centre-half. Ball didn't quite have enough on it.
Early chance for England to show what they've been able to practice with their set plays. Cahill going towards the near post, Rooney round the back, it's too high for all of them.
They might have worked hard on it, but I don't think they were trying to hit Wayne Rooney round the back. I know he's fairly decent in the air, he won't be one of the main targets.
Certain pragmatic touch about the Brazilian selection, given the lack of recent domestic action for many of the home-based players. One of the reasons, of course, Brazil do play so much in Europe is there are a lot of players based in this continent. What a pressure cooker it will be for Brazil. Anything other than winning the World Cup in their own country will be seen as failure. Before that, they've got the Confederations Cup as well. It's won nicely by Dante, but he gave the ball away. The big defender with the big hair in his debut. Plenty of appealing going on here, and corner is the outcome.
Well intercepted by Glenn Johnson. Just started off that move. Expect to see him get forward. Ever Walcott will go in field to support Wayne Rooney. Expect Johnson to be high and wide up on that right-hand side.
It's another England corner. A bit more measured this time. Smalling right in there. Oscar being forced back. And England making a determined start in terms of trying to win the ball in Brazil's territory.
Just the way they've started, Wilshere had that great run. Such a key player for England these days. Closing the ball down. Looks like Neymar is going to start out on the right-hand side. He has been through the middle for a little while, but he's gone back out to the left now. Oscar tucking in field.
Neymar, of course, unhappy memories here of the Olympic final. Brazil still haven't won the gold medal in the Olympic football tournament. They got close, they played Mexico in this stadium. Were beaten to go home with silver. Good pace by Cahill to get across, and no flinching with the challenge. Always risky lunging in at a Brazilian in your own penalty area.
But it was brilliant by Neymar down this right-hand side. 2-1-2s, excellent return ball from Ronaldinho. I spoke before the game, Cahill has to read those sort of situations. Ashley Cole was played around a little bit too easily there.
Ronaldinho with the corner, and towards Neymar by the near post. Here's a wonderful fixture with which to start this 150th anniversary year for the Football Association, founding fathers of the game. David Luiz. Nicely measured ball forward. Not able to keep it. It's just flinching a little bit after losing out. Scolari actually lost his voice, or very nearly lost his voice, at the press conference. Put it down to coming into such a cold climate, but he had a few months in England as the Chelsea head coach. On Neymar has got in behind Cahill here. Couldn't take it on. First real concern for the home nation.
Yeah, it's good play from Cahill in the end, but neither of the centre-halves saw the run of Neymar. He just ran in behind them. The player on the ball had time to pick out his pass. Just weren't aware of the situation there, Cahill, but great speed to get back in.
plenty of great speed. There's Walcott trying to keep it in play, but this is the problem that the England central defenders had.
There's one ball just over the top. Neymar came off this right-hand side to make his run between them. Oscar that played the ball forward.
Adriano is the left back. Full-backs from Barcelona. Oh, and left back Ashley Cole hasn't made many mistakes in his 99 previous internationals. Now Oscar to cross. The flag has gone up against Luis Fabiano.
Yeah, he was offside. Ashley Cole saw the run of the full-back Dani Alves to start with. Didn't control it particularly well. Fabiano made his run a little bit too early. Brazil have started the better here.
Two countries do play again in the revamped Maracanã in Brazil in June. Here's Welbeck, a very good 2012 in England's colours. Hasn't done so well for Manchester United. He's got a lot of competition to even get in the side. Crafty ball from Oscar again. This time looking for Luis Fabiano. Hart out quickly.
Once again, he's looking to break in between the two centre-halves. Fabiano on this occasion. He's going to try to just play the ball in behind, but they've got good pace, Smalling and Cahill, but they've got to read situations that little bit quicker.
That was the one real surprise when Roy Hodgson announced his England team today, that Chris Smalling, rather than Jagielka or Lescott, was in the middle of the defence. No surprise about Glenn Johnson at right back. The available again, Rooney's on a good run. 4 goals in his last 3 games for Manchester United. So Tom Cleverley. Steven Gerrard and Theo Walcott, I think I'm right in saying he's never scored a header for his club Arsenal, looking to get in there in an aerial sense.
Excellent vision here from Steven Gerrard. Time on the ball. Fullback drops, fullback defends it well, Adriano. Actually good movement from Theo Walcott, kept himself onside.
It's another right wing corner for Steven Gerrard inside this first 10 minutes. Oh, what a save by Julio Cesar, but the whistle had gone.
Does it recall memories of Pele and Banks? What a good header it was. Little push there. There's the full-length dive from Cesar. Does well to get it up and over the bar.
Yes, Rooney heading it down. I guess it was on its way up. He helped over, but still it was outstanding, even though it wouldn't have counted, and Brazil restart with a free kick.
He's been an outstanding form, hasn't he, for QPR? Some wonderful saves. I saw him recently at Hudson Park.
And he said how much, even though he's in a relegation battle, how much he's enjoying playing in the Premier League relatively late in his career. Some very, very good years in Italy, winning the Champions League. Smalling. 4 Manchester United players starting the game for England. 2 from Chelsea, 2 from Arsenal, 2 from Manchester City and 1 from Liverpool. Here's Walcott. Kante with the challenge. And look at the room that Neymar's got here. He's got Ronaldinho and Luis Fabiano to work with. Oscar wanting to join in as well. It is Oscar who was leaning back and just betrayed a little bit of his youth there. Actually had time to set himself for a better strike.
He certainly did, but it all came about. Glenn Johnson had every right to go forward. Then when England lost it, Neymar hadn't gone back, he hadn't tracked Glenn Johnson, so the ball was cleared to him, and it was an overload. And Ashley Cole couldn't go to him because he was worried about the ball being played wider. Should score. There's the threat on the counter from Brazil.
Headed by Dante. Johnson. And he's not offside. It was an England boot that got Neymar on the ball. It comes cleverly. Get out of trouble for the moment. Oscar. Luis Fabiano tried to set up Paulinho. Dani Alves, who is one of those players who loves to be on the ball, and often for club and for country they get him forward so well from right back. England have threatened from a series of corners, but Brazil playing their way into dangerous positions. Ramirez. Dani Alves. And Brazil with a new manager to impress, certainly for 10 of the players, an old manager for Ronaldinho to impress. Gerrard looking for his Liverpool colleague Glenn Johnson.
So again, Neymar makes no effort to get out. So Ramirez, the midfield player, just shuffles across.
Cleverly. Gerrard again. Cahill loves to come forward, and he's continued his run to get into the box. He's got a couple of England goals already. Walcott. Came up on Julio Cesar, maybe a little quicker than he anticipated, but in his own rather unique style, he got it away.
England will be able to cross the ball, but there's no real pressure on them when they get it out on that right-hand side. They can get players in the box, and when they attack the ball, enough determination. Welbeck could be key for that when the ball's on the far side.
The referee was walking away, having given the throw to Brazil. The assistant was clearly of a different mind. Gerrard. Rooney. Get Walcott in behind Adriano. Breaks for Johnson. Fall back to the other for England. Now Welbeck. Unlucky return ball from Tom Cleverley, just forced Welbeck a little wider than England would have hoped for. Curved out to Walcott, who's been in great form, of course, for Arsenal, and now with a new contract as well. Likes to tackle as well as everything else he's got, Jack Wilshere.
He's the all-round midfield player when he plays well. There's one thing that may just let him down on occasions. He can be a little bit too feisty and get himself in a bit of trouble.
Got rather underneath the ball there, in the shape of Ashley Cole. Not a great deal of penetration about the little passes on the edge of the penalty area that time. Collected by David Luiz. It was quite a doubt for this game, but obviously wanting to play, and captaining the side as well. Dani Alves. Different type of football for the England players to that which they encounter in the Premier League week in, week out. They've got Premier League qualities. Roy Hodgson's men. So Gerrard's ball chased by Cleverley, but running out of room. Roy coach and showing a lot of faith in Tom Cleverley. I'm sure Scolari's still well in touch with what's happening in the English game. It's a big ask for him to go back. Only probably dent the reputation, I suppose, obviously, if he is to win it. They didn't win it in 1950 in Brazil. It was the first World Cup that England participated in and had the humiliation of losing to the USA, as it was then. Well, there's no flag here. Maybe there should have been. But, Luis Fabiano, not particularly subtle in his approach. Last time the two countries met in Doha, he missed a penalty. Oscar blocked.
Been a penalty
by Jack Wilshere with an arm. Pedro Proença points to the penalty spot, and England have conceded a penalty. He spreads his arm, the official, suggesting that the England midfield man did the same. Well, so talking of a penalty, is Luis Fabiano going to take this one?
It looks as though Ronaldinho picked up the ball to start with.
Yeah.
Neymar's coming across. I think they're going to have a little discussion about it, but Ronaldinho's the man. But first of all, you were quite right. It looked as though it was offside, Fabiano, when the first header was played through to him, but he didn't do particularly well.
Well, here we are in the 19th minute. A reinstated Ronaldinho for Brazil. And Joe Hart saves, and Ronaldinho can't force it in, and nor can the follow-up from Neymar. Respect all round for the England goalkeeper from his teammates.
It's the second save that's better. This one, it's not a great penalty. He chooses the right way. But watch this second save. Ronaldinho slides in, and he's got strong enough right hand to keep it out. Then England get round the next one. Cleverly makes the challenge. Neymar. Here he goes again. He thought that Ronaldinho would slide it in. He thought Neymar would get there. Cleverly just about did enough after good work from Joe Hart.
Well, there's no question, as the ball breaks off Joe Hart, the odds favoured Ronaldinho. But Hart had other ideas, and it stays at 0-0. Here's David Luiz. Dante. So in consecutive meetings with England, Doha in 2009 and here at Wembley in 2013, Brazil have had penalties, not scored from either of them. Luis Fabiano put his wide in the Middle East. Would have been a good start for Scolari. Ronaldinho, the man he's recalled, let him down from the spot.
I have to say at the moment, they look the better side. England struggling to get their passing going in the midfield areas. Defenders aren't seeing the threat of the runs that likes of Neymar and Fabiano are making at the moment. England haven't really got a control of the game.
This time there is an offside against Ronaldinho.
He doesn't hit it in the corner, he doesn't hit it with enough power either.
He didn't slide in with enough speed. So a let-off for England. Rooney has had some problems with penalties himself recently. Ronaldinho claiming a free kick, not getting one. Wilshere. Another advantage played as Cleverley was fouled, but England plough on with Glenn Johnson. Gerrard. Rooney. Wilshere for Welbeck. Well, it was a decent chance. England's play was good.
Osgood, Rooney coming that little bit deeper. Wilshere combined well here, and he times his pass to perfection. Jack Wilshere, and really well back. I thought he was going to go with his left foot. Decides to play it with the outside of his right. Instead of getting it on the outside of the right, he actually gets it with his toe in the end. But that was better from England. Good combination play around the box.
Roy Hodgson, you saw there, was presented with a Brazil shirt with his name on it, number 11, by Carlos Alberto Pereira. And, an hour or so before kickoff, very touched by the gesture. He did say it would have been taking the mickey if he'd been given number 10 in his playing career. It's not quite as distinguished as his coaching career. Cole. He's not scored in his 99 previous internationals. Of course, his most recent attempt at goal, at least I can remember, was in the penalty shootout, the Euro quarter-finals. That England lost that shootout to Italy and he failed.
Started running with the ball, it all closed down for him. And I think he ran out of ideas, he couldn't see a pass, so I'll have a shot anyway. You can see why he hasn't scored too many goals. Great technique from him there.
England by no means assured of qualifying directly for the World Cup from their group. Big game in Montenegro coming up next month. It's very important for Roy Hodgson to take something to the future this performance tonight, as well as try to become the third manager, only the third England manager ever to be in charge of a winning team against Brazil. Ronaldinho quite in harmony with Adriano then.
Adriano was trying to run in behind Theo Walcott. Ronaldinho just put his head down as he made the run. That's why he had the mess up.
Cleverly, Gerrard. Mourinho tried to steal it, but they played around him. England did well. Got Welbeck coming from the left-hand side again. Give it back to Wilshere this time. Cleverly. She wasn't quite expecting it, but he's still got a corner out of it.
It's good play in midfield to start with. Rooney and Gerrard played a little 1-2. Enabled Wilshere to have a bit of space on them, a bit of time on the ball. Just tried to stay onside Wilshere, so didn't make the run initially.
Chance here for England to take the lead, having survived the penalty scare at the other end. It's Joe Hart's agility with a double save. Work by Johnson, here's Walcott. Johnson again. Glenn Johnson. I've seen him come infield in club matches and hit it with his left foot. Thought there was a nick on it. There should be a corner. Referee has pointed for goal kick.
Well, he intercepted the ball to start with. Cesar threw it out to Ronaldinho. It wasn't alive and alert. There's the little 1-2. He's got great technique with both feet, Glenn Johnson.
It's a good spell this for England, and Jack Wilshere's at the heart of it. Oh, good save by Julio Cesar, but Rooney follows up, and England have the lead in the 26th minute. Although the goal was gaping, still needed a composed touch, precision with a bit of pace. But Wilshere at the core of the move. Julio Cesar might have thought he'd done enough saving from Walcott, but Wayne Rooney was there to pick up the pieces. England 1, Brazil 0.
Well, this was all about Jack Wilshere. There he plays a little 1-2. Now he's got a bit of time on the ball. Brilliant from Wilshere. Plays inside the fullback perfectly. Really, Theo Walcott should just lift it over the goalkeeper. There's the 1-2. Now there's a driving run. Now there's the vision to play the ball in behind the fullback. Wayne Rooney still had a lot to do there. just following up his initial pass. A good finish. The end of England's best period of the game.
His 33rd England goal, and it's a tale so far of the two number 10s. Rooney has scored, Ronaldinho fluffed his lines with his penalty. As I said earlier, in the last 8 meetings, no England wins, but they led 5 times. They lead again. Can they this time turn it into victory at Wembley? Wilshere, Walcott might go through himself. He's trying to get it back to Rooney. Just didn't quite flick it far enough to his right. Got a bang in the process. Having got to grips with the occasion as much as the opposition, England playing football of their own, of a pleasing nature, Stuart Robson.
But once again, who was at the heart of it? Jack Wilshere, driving forward with the ball, avoiding challenges. Here he goes again, then plays the ball out to Theo Walcott, who cuts inside. And he just doesn't have any quality with the pass there. And then he's got a whack in the stomach.
Yeah, it was quite a deliberate dig in the ribs from David Luiz.
Himself a little bit winded there. A better pass, and England would have been 2-0 up. There is the elbow in the stomach, lower chest.
Foul.
It's a foul, absolutely.
Harry Lewin, of course, used to be the Arsenal physio. Just getting Theo Walcott back up and running again. Spot on, Stuart, when you say England were playing the best spell of the match, and it's one of the truisms of the game, isn't it? When you are on top, you've got to really try and make that count on the scoreline, and England have done that.
The hardest thing to do for England teams over the years is when the opposition play at a slow pace and keep possession, is how do England, when they get the ball, quicken the tempo up? Because they haven't had a lot of the ball, but they've done it well here in the last 10-15 minutes. Some clever midfield play. 3 midfield players have linked up well together. Steven Gerrard, Wilshere cleverly, and also Rooney's dropped back at times, which has allowed Walcott to make forward runs and Welbeck to make forward runs. It's almost playing with a little diamond in midfield at times.
Brazil stung into some sort of retaliation here. Luis Fabiano's first thought is usually to shoot. A good World Cup in South Africa, although in the end it's disappointment for the Brazilians, beaten in the quarter-final in Port Elizabeth by Holland. Match in which Julio Cesar didn't cover himself in glory, and had a spell on the sideline since then, really because of the fingers that were pointed at him in that defeat. I said right at the start, Stuart, the task for Scolari is to turn these very good players into a team, and Brazil have been struggling with their recent coaches to actually get that to happen.
So often chopped and changed their team around. And I'm not sure all these games all around the Europe, all around
the Harlem Globetrotters of world football, aren't they?
It doesn't help them because they pick different teams every match. It's difficult to get any sort of fluidity. Here's the 1-2 again. He gets away from Ramirez, but then he finds the right pass. That's inch perfect for Theo Walcott. I thought he just lifted over the goalkeeper, but Wayne Rooney, there wasn't much of an area to hit, but he certainly hit it.
Roy Hodgson had sat back in disappointment that Walcott hadn't scored, and then showed his jubilation that Rooney did. And it was a good angle, that last angle, to show what Rooney had to do to steer it into a goal where the goalkeeper was stranded, but others were trying to block the chance.
What he did, he used the right technique. He didn't try and smash through the back of the ball with his laces, the inside of his foot with power. Good
Covering by Welbeck, who's certainly got Dani Alves as part of a job, but the best way to deal with Dani Alves is make him run in the opposite direction, as Welbeck was doing there. Here comes Cleverley. England really in the mood now. And, Brazil, rather untidy challenge by Oscar, which Johnson believes should be punished. The free kick. It's only a throw against Scolari's team. Gerrard, a lovely piece of play again, and Glenn Johnson just trying perhaps to do a little bit too much with the ball rather than just helping across the face of the goal. Easy to say sitting up here. Wilshere out by David Luiz, the most buccaneering of all defenders.
Well, what they're saying is that David Luiz unfairly shielded the ball there. He threw an elbow. Just backs in. Does he throw the elbow? Well,
He's making sure he got his body across, wasn't he?
he certainly was. He got the foul.
Welbeck was runner-up to Gerrard in the poll for England's Player of 2012. It's a great compliment to Danny Welbeck. More junior members of the squad, but those 5 goals that he scored, he could have added a goal in 2013 tonight, prior to England taking the lead. If you've just joined us, the other fact you must know is that Brazil had a penalty at 0-0 and Joe Hart saved it not once. Also the follow-up from Ronaldinho. Cleverley. This is where Walcott can really express himself and impress. There's this caveat to his CV that he wants to play more through the middle. He's going to get the chance to do that coming from the right-hand side in situations like that.
That's where he can impress, but he can also frustrate Theo Walcott in those situations. There, that was a golden opportunity for him, 1v1. Overran the ball. He doesn't look such a good player.
Oscar fought really then by Cole. Walcott again. And it is at times a mixed bag from Theo Walcott, but we've seen how dangerous he can be. Very involved in the goal. Brazil are not finding it easy at Wembley. Neymar, day after his 21st birthday, not too much to celebrate so far. The smart money is on him staying in Brazilian football till after the World Cup, and then making his foray into Europe. Famous club, of course, Santos, where great Pelé made his name.
They were expected to win the Copa America a couple of years ago. They were expected to win the Olympic title. Neither of those things. Brazil.
And they expected themselves to win the World Cup in 2010 and 2006. Won't be much sympathy for Scolari if he starts with a defeat. They'll probably give him one other game. England trying to make sure they don't lose 2 in a row. Not very often the last couple of decades. Then Johnson. Here's Rooney. Welbeck, and then David Luiz gets a head to it, out by his club colleague Oscar. Ronaldinho can't keep it going. A bit of appealing to the referee from Portugal. He's given them a penalty. They feel that they've been hard done by with some of the England challenges. Flag is up on the far side that the ball went out.
They do gamble when they haven't got the ball, Brazil. When England are attacking and they get in towards the top third of the field, look down the other end, and Brazil have got 3 players that aren't working at all to get back and get any sort of shape. They're just hoping that Brazil win it back and then play them in. They can counter-attack. It's a risky game to play.
Slightly risky kick from Hart. It's allowed Oscar to get the drop on Ashley Cole. 3 in the middle. Oh, and what a wonderful chance to equalise. And for Neymar, it isn't quite happening so far. Poor kick from Hart. Great ball from Oscar.
Oscar beats Ashley Cole a little bit too easily again here, and he whips the ball brilliantly along that 6-yard box. He does everything right. Neymar in coming round the back, timing his run to perfection, and he's got to get over the ball.
Talking about timing runs, well, run was okay from Dani Alves, the pass wasn't so good. There is an old saying in sport, you should never come back. I wonder if Scolari was tempted by it. Godlike status if you win one World Cup. If you get 2, I don't know what comes after that, especially if it's the one on home soil. And of course they will be favourites, but with the favouritism comes that huge weight of expectation. Since the last World Cup they've been beaten 3 times by Argentina, which tells you that even in their own continent they are not necessarily the masters. As Stuart pointed out, win that Copa America, beaten by Paraguay quarterfinals on penalties. Missed all their penalties.
They played really poorly in that tournament in Argentina. They played Paraguay early on, didn't play well, didn't win the game. Played at too slow a tempo. Their midfield was Ramirez and Lucas in that tournament. 2 players we know very well here.
Lucas of Liverpool is not in Brazil's squad. Lucas played in the Olympics is. Oscar given away by Cahill. Ramirez. Adriano. Oscar. Up against Ashley Cole again, and he's crossing again, hooked over by Paulinho. More applause for Joe Hart.
Did well to get that out the danger area there. Lovely bit of skill at the near post. Oscar's giving Ashley Cole a real problem.
Paulinho making a run through the middle, it comes out towards Oscar. Gerrard intervenes. Wilshere is playing it to where, at the very least, he's giving them a bit of time to regroup. Welbeck giving Ashley Cole a bit of much-needed help down behind his near-touch line. Cross from Dani Alves. Out comes Hart.
He's been a bit ponderous, hasn't he, Fabiano, at times?
He's another one that I think most Brazilian supporters thought his international days had gone. Hasn't quite got the panache of Ronaldinho for a recall.
He's playing out on the left-hand side, now Neymar. Oscar's come to this right-hand side.
They've basically got 4 fluid attackers, haven't they? And behind them, Ramirez and Paulinho sitting to try and help break up the play.
Oscar will try and defend at times, but Neymar, Ronaldinho and Fabiano haven't tried to defend at all. They'll press the ball, but when it gets played past them, they just don't recover. So it does leave them a little bit outnumbered when Rooney comes short into midfield.
Here's Oscar's club colleague, of course, Ashley Cole, who was signed for another year with Chelsea. After saying he wanted 2. And here goes Wilshere. Rooney to crack it. When he hits it, they usually stay hit.
As he gets it, he comes deep. Wayne Rooney. Wilshere makes the forward run. Welbeck had made the forward run, sets up the play. Wilshere goes past the first challenge and the second. Once again, Rooney, good decision this time to hit it with his laces.
Wilshere. His first start, remember this is, since June 2011. He came on as a substitute after being 17 months out of the international scene in Sweden. The game rather fell away from England thanks to Ibrahimovic. Wilshere has put together a real impressive sequence of games for Arsenal, and the England coaching staff are now benefiting from that tonight. Brazil are trailing in his wake from time to time.
Liam Brady said who had him as a youngster, obviously through the Arsenal Academy, said he could be as talented as Glenn Hoddle and Paul Gascoigne, and I'd go along with that.
England's throw, holding a lead with a couple of minutes to go to half-time. Cahill. It's a big pitch here, but not quite as big as that. The England fans in good voice.
After the first 20 minutes, England have played well. It's really been, the key has been those three midfield players. Cleverly, Gerrard, Wilshere, but also the movement of Wayne Rooney coming short just to overload that area, leave Alinio and Ramirez up against it, and they've won the ball back again here, England.
Welbeck. A chance once more for Walcott to show his impressive pace. Carried away by Julio Cesar. Like with the goal, there wasn't quite an England player in the right place to follow up. They're still on the attack here. That's where you do try your trickery, and Danny Welbeck, unlucky that it didn't come off. Slow to start England here. Fortunate that Ronaldinho, of all people, wasted a penalty. But almost heartened by that, England have really got to grips with the challenge.
And again, it's Theo Walcott on the counter, but Wayne Rooney's lost it in a bad position.
Brazil have got four forward. Ronaldinho. So I think the days of Luis Fabiano chasing down passes like that may well be behind him.
A wrong decision from Ronaldinho. Once Wayne Rooney coming short. His pass intercepted. Did leave a 4-on-4 situation.
David Luiz. A second go at that, Smalling. Second go was successful. By Ramirez, seized upon by Gerrard. One added minute before half-time. Cleverly, England trying to use these extra seconds to their advantage. Johnson. He's probably attacked a bit more than Dani Alves from the same position, right backs.
Well, the difference is Neymar isn't recovering and not stopping Johnson getting forward, whereas Welbeck's trying to stop the runs of Dani Alves. As he shows here, chasing across.
Perfect example. Had the ball, what, 4 times, and he's had to lay it off each time. The passage of play alone. Dante. Well, a good half for England. England supporters show their appreciation. Wayne Rooney giving them the lead, but only after Joe Hart had made a superb double save from Ronaldinho's penalty, and the follow-up from a player reunited with the national team tonight as Scolari has returned, but the memories of 2002 put aside for the time being here, because at half-time at Wembley, England hold the upper hand. The Rooney goal after 26 minutes, England 1, Brazil 0. At Wembley Stadium tonight, the 24th meeting between England and Brazil. England looking for what would only be a 4th win against the 5-time World Cup winners. And Wayne Rooney denied by a fantastic save by Julio Cesar, but referee had spotted a push.
It's a big push as well, but what a good save. He was a threat in the air, right, Wayne Rooney.
So Brazil enjoying the wide open spaces of Wembley. Looked as though they were going to get an early grip on the game, but just rushed it. You could see he was reaching for the shot in the end, Oscar.
I think he could have taken it on as well, but that's when Neymar doesn't go back with Johnson. England lost the ball high up the field. Now Neymar's running at a centre-half. They've got midfield runners coming as well. It's a great run from Ronaldinho to take Smalling out the way, but he should score then.
Well, the referee had a very good angle on this. He saw Jack Wilshere raise an arm just inside the penalty area. Penalty given.
I think he's a bit unlucky here, Jack Wilshere, because there's not too much he can do about it. I think Ronaldinho's only a couple of yards away from him. Here we see it again. He's just turning his back as well. Very unlucky. Yes, it hits him on the arm.
But Joe Hart came to England and Wilshere's rescue not once but twice from Ronaldinho, and then Neymar on the hunt at the 3rd time of asking, couldn't force it in either.
Well, I think the second save is the better one. Ronaldinho sliding in, all the forces with him, but he's got a great right hand, Joe Hart. He just keeps it out, and then cleverly on Neymar, watch as they come in here, cleverly just about does enough. The referee gave a goal kick, but that's not a good penalty. Not enough pace, not enough accuracy. Hart did well 2 occasions.
But almost from that moment, England maybe thought this could be their night. They started to play with more authority. They started to pass the ball. And this was the first of several such moves. It could have led to Danny Welbeck scoring the first goal of the evening.
Well, Wayne Rooney did this a lot throughout the first half. He dropped into a deeper area. See him make space a little bit deeper of Welbeck, plays the ball around the corner. It's an perfect pass again from Jack Wilshere, and I think he should go with his left foot, or if he's going to go with the outside of his right foot, he's got to wrap it round the ball.
It's very well read by Johnson. Walcott takes over. Lent to play between the two, and then with the left foot, Johnson lets rip.
Well, he's got the freedom of the park, Glenn Johnson, when he comes forward. He intercepted that ball from Ronaldinho, played the 1-2 with Theo Walcott. We've seen him hit the target so many times with his left foot, but not on that occasion.
Well, when Walcott gets in this time, Julio Cesar did his bit, but Wayne Rooney, a rich reign of form for Manchester United, brings his goal touch into the international arena yet again.
Well, what a combination it was between Wilshere and Rooney, and then Walcott with his pace. Times he's run well here. Again, it's a great pass from Jack Wilshere. I thought Walcott would lift it over the goalkeeper, Cesar following in. Remember, Wayne Rooney set the play up with Wilshere. Another 30 yards back there, just follows his pass, scores a great goal.
England now very much with the challenge in mind, fortified by the goal. Walcott certainly getting himself involved in pretty much every attack, and he was just dug in the ribs by David Luiz. Couldn't quite get the final pass away, and that's what I think all the officials were looking at. Otherwise they might have seen this as Well, it might have been just outside the area, certainly a free kick.
He just didn't make the most of that situation, Theo Walcott. And England nearly played up the other end. Oscar's given Ashley Cole a hard time throughout the first half. This is a perfect cross. And Neymar, he's been a little bit disappointed with his final pass, and his finishing just couldn't make it. But Ashley Cole, he's seen him play a lot better for England. It's been disappointing from him. But Oscar's been excellent out on the right-hand side.
England pressing quite high up the pitch and then having the acceleration. Walcott making Julio Cesar work hard again.
And that's what Walcott can do from that right side. He can make those diagonal runs.
So England have that all-important goal, but they have led Brazil, as I've mentioned a couple of times before, in 5 of the last 8 games and won none of them. Brazil probably hit harder psychologically by the penalty failure than one would have imagined. But we'll see whether they can rouse themselves in the second half. It's been a free-flowing game. The referee, a controversial choice from Portugal, has given Brazil a penalty. But I must say he's kept the game flowing with a swagger. The reputation that he has is a deserved one. And it's been a very good watch for this first half, which ends 1-0 to England. With a couple of half-time changes, Frank Lampard and Leighton Baines replacing Tom Cleverley and Ashley Cole respectively. And going to be a couple of alterations for Brazil as well.
2 substitutions at half-time for England, coming off number 11, Tom Cleverley.
In fact, 3 substitutions for Brazil.
Frank Lampard.
Striker Fred plays back in Brazil these days for Fluminense. Had a spell most notably with Lyon in France. He's number 19. Aroca of Santos, the midfield player, is the number 16. Fred, the first to be flagged on.
And a triple replacement for Brazil, coming off number 9.
And Lucas,
number 19, Fred, also coming off number 5,
was in the Olympic final as well, along with the likes of Neymar and Oscar on this ground. Here he is now of Paris Saint-Germain, a growing force in European club football. So some action taken by Scolari at half-time. It's always hard, Stuart Robson, to know whether the coaches have done this by pre-arrangement or from what they've actually seen from the first half.
I'd imagine a bit of both.
Wayne Rooney involved in the kick-off, the score of the game's only goal so far. England have the opportunity to gain a rare victory over Brazil.
They are straight swaps for England. Leighton Baines will go in at left back, and Lampard will go exactly the position that Cleverley was playing on the right-hand side of that little triangle. There is Leighton Baines. Such a great season for Everton so far.
There's Gerrard. It's given back to him by Aroca. And Gerrard, the shot is on, and Julio Cesar spilt it. And on the follow-up, Jack Wilshere couldn't quite grab himself an England goal.
Once again, Wilshere makes a forward run. Rooney goes that little bit deeper. The ball bounces just in front of Cesar. Actually, I think David Luiz just about does enough here. It's not a great save. He pushes it back into a dangerous area. Had it been on his left foot, I think Jack Wilshere would have got his goal.
Johnson. Now by Paulinho of Corinthians. Good box-to-box player, again attracting European scouts, but not having made the move from Brazilian domestic football as yet. Right, Bones can't get that, but he has been really impressive, not just this season, but for a couple of years now. A genuine challenger to Ashley Cole. Has played most of the England games this season. 5 of the last 6.
It's interesting to see whether he can actually build up a relationship with Danny Welbeck, because he does so with the players that play wide for Everton, whether it's been Pienaar. Morales has played out there on a couple of occasions, and their movement's excellent to allow him to come forward.
Johnson. Lampard, of course, in this strange situation where he's been told by his club that he will not be retained at the end of the season, and yet keeps getting picked for the team and scoring goals and actually threatening the all-time club scoring record. Oh, it's a mistake by Cahill. And absolutely fantastic finish from Fred, who's only been on a couple of minutes, but England have shot themselves in the foot here.
Well, first of all, it was Johnson. Brazil were pressing high up the field. Johnson played a little square ball. That seemed okay. Cahill then tried to come out with it. So often, centre halves, he overruns it and then tries to play it with the outside of his boot out to Baines, whereas the pass was really back to the centre half, Smalling. See if he gets his right foot round it now and just plays it back to Smalling, he'll be okay, but he tries to play through the challenge, and Fred does really well. Smalling had to hang off of him for a little while because there was the other runner, but it's a good finish. Joe Hart, absolutely no problem, but the centre half overran the ball and then didn't make the right decision.
Well, a good substitution from Scolari. Fred, another one of the players he's recalled, this sort of retro Brazilian squad, was in the World Cup of 2006, you might recall, got a couple of goals in the tournament. And Germany and England almost in chaos again here. And they could still be in it. Fred again, oh, and it's clipped the top of the frame of the goal. He could have had 2 in a minute. And really they would have been handed to him on a plate by England.
Suddenly Brazil are pressing the ball, they're playing with more urgency. Watch here when it goes back to Smalling. Smalling's a poor pass with his left boot. Joe Hart doesn't clear it particularly well. Cahill tries to get out of the way. Well, they're all over the place at the moment, England.
Well, the firepower has arrived for Brazil in the shape of Fred.
They've got a more settled shape by the looks of it now, Brazil. What they're doing, they've got Neymar out on the left-hand side. I think he's going to stay out here. Fred through the middle. Oscar's going to play behind him. And on the right-hand side, it will be Lucas. So it's a more structured formation. They needed that because when they didn't have the ball, England were able to attack very easily in that first half.
And to be fair, Ronaldinho and Luis Fabiano did not contribute a great deal to that first 45 minutes. So a bit of sentiment giving away to a bit of structure. And trying to press forward here and hit back, restore their advantage. Smack tie into the Wembley night by Paulinho. Made by Lampard, but Julio Cesar, even in his unorthodox style, can come and catch that safely. Well, the equaliser has really set up the second half. There have been a lot of 1-1 draws between the two countries, but I don't think this is necessarily going to finish that way. There's appetite in both teams for victory. As I say, it's a standalone fixture as a friendly international, if you want to call it that, a showpiece. Curtain raiser for this 150th anniversary season for the Football Association, but what happens in the months ahead is vital for both camps.
That's why everybody was surprised that Ronaldinho and Fabiano started for Brazil, because it's such an important time for them to better team, get a good understanding, know exactly what the manager wants. Certainly be pleased with the way they've started the second half. They're pressing to the ball. So Oscar again going to try and press the centre halves for England. Can't get out.
Well, every group needs a brushstroke or two of experience, but Brazil, of course, are great providers of young talent. If they can use the 16 months or so to bring one or two on and pick the right experienced hands to steady the ship, and of course they will be the force to be reckoned with in their own country. England need to just clear their heads, just not so much conceding the equaliser, but the nature of it. Really slovenly goal to ship the home side tonight.
Look at the pressing again from Brazil. What a change in their attitude at the start of this second half. Raced to go and close it down, then went to the centre half and then ran back into midfield to stop Lampard getting good possession on the ball. Excellent from the number 8.
He's got Roca alongside him now, not Ramirez. Welbeck. Smalling having to hurry. Probably the aim awry.
It's interesting how these two centre-halves will cope now. Both made a mistake. One cost England a goal, Cahill, and then Smalling with his back pass, which was hit too hard and slightly off the ground. Gave Hart a real problem.
Well, that seems to be more and more part of the makeup of international footballers, with their ability or lack of it to deal with the spotlight, the glare of playing for your country. Of Jack Wilshere, it doesn't seem to trouble at all. Wants to grab the game by the scruff of the neck again. Here he goes, leaving Paulinho, stopped by Dante. Then Aroca gets it to Oscar, on to Neymar, who's just onside. This is more like Brazil with the swagger. Oscar stopped by Cahill, he'll feel better after that.
Very nearly, Oscar put it in between Cahill's legs, and Cahill would have brought him down. He only just got a touch on the ball there. Good break from Brazil, then won it back off Jack Wilshere, their defending third.
Very good movement by Rooney to be able to receive the pass as England look to break themselves. And Leighton Baines makes a threatening surge and a bit of a slip by Aroca.
How many times have we seen that this season? The defenders get themselves a little bit square and Baines chops the ball between the two and starts running into the box.
Yeah, that low centre of gravity of his and real attacking ambition. Another Steven Gerrard corner for England. Almost 10 minutes gone in the second half. Oh. Well, England very nearly having villain turning hero there in the shape of Gary Cahill.
Well, if he got a good header, he should score here. He's being tugged by, well, he should score, really. David Luiz tugging at the shirt, let him go. It's really poor defending, a decent save. Cesar.
Two Chelsea players. Julio Cesar comes with a good punch. It's Wilshere trying to get it wide, and he's done that. Gerrard trying to whip it in first time.
Watch David Luiz at the corners. He never watches the ball, he's watching the player and grabbing hold of his shirt. You can't defend properly if you're never looking at the ball.
Oscar was well found, looks for Neymar's run.
Well played, Glenn Johnson. So often we see fullbacks try and hold a line, never go behind their centre-halves. He had to go behind his centre-halves because Neymar made a great run. Diagonal run for the pass of Oscar.
Johnson booms it across to Baines. Now Gerrard. Smalling. And Cahill. Johnson, bit of Considered build-up by England here. Walcott coming in from the right side to get involved, but primarily he's been used as a wide attacker. Welbeck, who has played for England as a central striker, more in tune with the movement into the middle, particularly when Rooney comes short, which he's done pretty effectively. Lampard.
Well, I wonder if that's what the manager Roy Hodgson's been asking Welbeck to do, to come in field, because that means Baines can play even higher up on that left hand side, almost like a wing back.
Here's the right back, Johnson. Neymar. Throw goes England's way. Lampard. Here's Wilshere. Been a foul there again. The referee pleased to play the advantage. Walcott hunts it into Adriano, and takes him on here and leaves him. Oh, and it nearly fell for Lampard. Rooney to tee up Gerrard, his sort of range, not quite his best kind of shot.
Well, that's what you hope to see from Theo Walcott. So often I see him running to defenders when he takes them on in 1v1 situations. He's much better when the ball's played in behind, but there he does well. Attacks the inside of Adriano, goes down the outside. From that moment on, Brazil were in trouble. Steven Gerrard just slicing across it here. To credit also Paulinho for getting out quickly.
Gerrard, of course, scored from a similar sort of distance, maybe even further out. And Liverpool's league game on Sunday past the England goalkeeper tonight, Joe Hart. Liverpool away to Manchester City. Cahill. Smalling to Baines. Gerrard, always thinking forward. Walcott. A bit more purpose to England's passing in this passage of play. Lampard, who hopes he'll be the next centurion in terms of caps. Walcott fancies himself against Adriano. He keeps doing that. One's surely going to drop England's way. Well, this one does, and it's a goal for Frank Lampard. Fred at one end, Frank at the other.
And once again, Theo Walcott just showing his improvement as a player. He runs at the inside of Adriano, and once Adriano has to move to cut that line off, he can then go to the byline. Watch again, takes the inside, then takes the outside. And you're always going to struggle defending these situations, but England win the ball back. Rooney wins it back, and what a finish from Frank Lampard, because he hasn't got too much time here. It's on the volley. So he just readjusts his position. Wayne Rooney gets back to take the ball, and he almost passes it into the net, doesn't he?
Stays by a Roker.
Yeah, it was a poor pass for him back to his centre half.
But he's having, a bit like Rooney, England's other goal scorer, a great run for his club in terms of finding the net, which for Lampard continues to be even more remarkable because he is a midfield player. He's now scored 27 times for England. It's his 94th appearance now. That should book him a few more caps and on his way to 100.
Well, it's his awareness when the ball comes back to him. Got no time to think. Technique is superb, as it always is with Lampard.
But here's Adriano, who's been struggling against Walcott and had a chance to pay him back then. But, nowhere near the goal. As you've probably noticed, James Milner's come on for Danny Welbeck during those England goal celebrations. And this is Gian, who was a late call-up into the squad, a midfield player from Fluminense in Brazil, only his second cap. As for Milner, he ranks up number 35. Played against Brazil in that previous meeting in Doha in in 2009.
Well, he will play out on that left-hand side. Again, straight swap from Roy Hodgson.
Rooney. Well, the rarity of England scoring twice against Brazil. Walcott. He's having a purple patch at the moment. He ends up on a patch behind the byline. Doesn't get any sympathy from the referee.
He's certainly playing with more confidence now, Theo Walcott. So often runs into defenders, makes the wrong decision. Certainly not now.
And Brazil equalise for a second time. Gian. Now Neymar. Adriano. Gian. See what he had in mind, but he was nowhere near executing it.
A bit nervous from the substitute. Two balls he tried to play reverse into, one into Fred, which he got all wrong, and that one he tried to play into the forward run.
Well, the only goal that Brazil had managed was gift wrapped by England. Emotional. Want to see his side defend without momentary lapse. Half an hour or so that remains. Be a stirring way to start the year if England can knock over Brazil here. Neymar. That's Gian. Nervous again?
I think he was. His first touch wasn't quite right. He had a lot of time and space to start with. It's a good run from Neymar over the top. Johnson didn't see it until it was a bit late. There's the first touch, was a bit heavy. And then as Steven Gerrard comes out, there's a wild lash at it. Hits it on the outside of his boot. So got himself into the game right at the start of his appearance.
And so is he.
A bit more effect. They're actually up against each other.
Yeah, second cap against 94th. It's a goal fiddler. Adriano. Neymar. Roca. Coming up to the 20-minute mark in the second half. Game has continued in an engrossing way.
I'd actually say the second half has been played with a bit more intensity than the first, particularly from Brazil, and they're closing the ball down. He's been a bit agitated on the side now.
Big Phil, a bit of a big flap at the moment. After all those successes in tournaments against England. Second two of three with Portugal. Roca. Dani Alves. And Joe Hart had scope for a fumble there, but he wouldn't have wanted to let it slip initially from his grasp, which it did. Sort of rather switched off. If anyone had chased in then, there might have been a surprise opportunity for them. Gerrard. Cut out by Adriano. Now David Luiz. Oscar took up a good position behind the midfield. That the pocket of space before the back line. Neymar.
Well, he works really hard for his space, Neymar.
Not quite full at Wembley, but pretty much that way. Majority in the big audience, despite that Neymar effort, enjoying what they're seeing from England.
It's been a good game all round, hasn't it? But I was just talking about Neymar working for his space. He ran Johnson infield. He couldn't get the ball, so he backed off again. That didn't come, so he ran Johnson again. Off the ball, Neymar's working really hard.
Here's David Luiz. Oscar trying to capitalise here. Quite have the touch to go with his persistence. For Chelsea, they feel he'll end up being one of the two holding midfield players, but played most of his football in his first season in England in a more attacking role.
Almost coming from a wider position, hasn't he?
Adriano. Luis Felipe getting on Felipe Luis, the left back from Atletico Madrid. Neymar. You have to have the audacity to try it.
Once again, Luke makes the run from outside to in. Johnson goes with him. There's a little 1-2. Fred has actually worked better with him than Fabiano did in the first half. That wasn't too difficult.
Only Ibrahimovic gets goals like that against England.
Can't happen too many times, can it? Here is the strike.
This happens plenty of times for Frank Lampard.
And it's just wonderful awareness of where the goalkeeper was, where the goal was, assessing the situation.
Here's Baines. And it took everyone out. Walcott had made a good run towards the near post, but I don't know whether he just checked. Got away from him. Substitution coming up. It'll be a change at left back, I would have thought, and probably Adriano will be glad to see the back of Theo Walcott and hand over the responsibilities to a replacement who was at the start of the season in that Atletico Madrid team that put Chelsea to the sword in the Super Cup in Monaco. Cahill feeling a lot better now that England have regained the lead.
Anyone was in doubt who had made the mistake, he made sure everybody knew, didn't he? Put hands over his face.
Walcott. He's got the ever-willing Rooney for company. It's just too high for Milner.
Walcott again running with the ball this time. Starts to run straight at defenders, then it's easy for them just to hold him up. Wayne Rooney just again finds space. They work so well together, Wilshere and Rooney, Walcott and Rooney.
Fred trying to get Lucas away that time. Breakdown of communications between Baines and Milner. Oscar is a little more dangerous than most for Brazil. It's dummy by Neymar. Oscar. Gian. Sent tumbling by Rooney. Neymar. Very good ball. Haven't been enough of those, probably Brazil will feel. Dani Alves right on the front foot that time.
He's the player now, isn't he, Neymar, that's just trying to pull the strings alongside Oscar for Brazil. Good forward run again from Dani Alves. Milner tracked him back.
Brazilians all coming in from the edge of the penalty area. Gerrard heads away. Collected by Dani Alves. Still plenty in the middle, but Gerrard once more. Not bewitched, bothered and bewildered by Neymar's attempt at trickery, but you're absolutely right, Stuart. He's really having a go now, Neymar, isn't he, to try and be the player who can salvage a result here at Wembley. But England set up to break when they can. And it's more than that. It's not as though they're under siege at the Joe Hart end of the pitch.
Well, when England beat Spain, it was very much a game where England had very little of the ball and they counter-attacked when they could.
This lovely play here between Milner and Rooney. Doesn't quite carve out another chance, but a knowing look between the two of them.
Well, that's been a feature of England's play at times. Most of their best moves have involved a little 1-2 somewhere in midfield.
Gerrard to lift it forward for Lampard. Old conundrum, Gerrard and Lampard together. Well, they've got Wilshere to work with here. It's just that maybe ingredient that's been missing. Plenty of the other times they've been paired. Fouled by Walcott.
Just saying it again. There was the 1-2. Walcott played it in, continued his run. Ball reversed back into his space.
Through 1-2s, England leading 2-1. The debutant, Bayern Munich now, he plays for Dante. Neymar trying to assert some authority for Brazil, but compared to some Brazilian sides of the vintage years, they're rather powder puff in their attacking. They haven't been able to win the sort of set pieces that Brazil are famous for, the phenomenal free kicks from around the edge of the penalty area. Really knew he would be offside. Amazingly, only Walcott's second start in some 20 months for England. And the other one, he was taken off very early, you might recall, against San Marino, and he got a clattering. Oscar. Always veering wide.
But it was the runners down the side of him that just made England's back players drop off. Here's the ball from Fred. Look at the players, they all start dropping off for the run of Neymar. He doesn't quite get the bend on it.
Theo Walcott getting the congratulations of Gary Neville down there, part of Roy Hodgson's coaching staff. Gary Lewin, the physio, just checking him out. Aaron Lennon of Tottenham is on. Had a couple of full seasons without playing for England after he participated in the World Cup in South Africa. He's seen a bit more national service in this campaign.
It's another player that's been in and out at times, hasn't he, over the last 2 or 3 years, but playing some of his best football for Tottenham at the moment.
Felipe Luis. Another breakdown from Brazil. Set by Neymar.
Haven't seen too much of Lucas out on the right-hand side. PSG player. Very talented, but hasn't got on the ball enough for Brazil. So it's been coming down this side with Neymar.
Aroka, touch there from Lucas. Dani Alves getting it forward. It'll be picked up here by Fred. Get much power into that effort, certainly as strong as his excellent scoring shot. This is with his other foot. Lampard going to get Lennon away here. Ante coming across. Lennon, nicknamed the Road Runner, ran out of road then.
She defended it well in the end. Showed a good bit of pace to get there, and didn't just kick the ball out. Shielded the ball out of play.
Another from the Atletico Madrid stable, Miranda. It's a central defender. Gerrard, who often doesn't go the distance with England, determined, I think, to do so tonight. Rooney likewise. Pillars of the performance here. Wilshere too. Remember, he hasn't started a game for his country for 20 months. Looks as though he might start and finish it now. Playmaker from Lampard on Neymar.
I think Roy Hodgson knows what a good effect it'll have on the supporters and the press if England get a good win here. That's always keeping the players on. Lampard with the challenge.
David Luiz passing the armband to goalkeeper Julio Cesar. As he gives his position to Miranda. Only his 7th cap. Age of 28. From Dani Alves, you hardly call a defender. It's a pretty inexperienced back line for Scolari, but it's attack that he needs now. So far, not a happy return to managing his national team. Neymar looking for the foul, up on his feet. It's good to see. Being cynical about that, he might well have been clipped by Wilshere. Two 21-year-olds going head-to-head. Here's Neymar. Haven't really been troubled by a final ball.
Once again, they were looking for the 1-2. Lucas just trying to increase the tempo, playing it infield and making the dancing run, but on that occasion, England saw the threat and the danger.
Gian, Neymar. That's offside, Oscar.
I just think Neymar missed the opportunity to play Oscar in when he was running with the ball. Oscar made a lovely little diagonal run. The ball had been played early. Oscar would have been in, but he played it infield. He wasn't offside, actually.
No, it was level, wasn't it? He wants to get level.
To a few places since he managed at Chelsea.
Yeah, Uzbekistan for one. It was reported the highly paid coach ever. I should imagine he's getting a few bob for doing this job. Dante, 10 minutes to go, 10 minutes away from what is not a victory to get you points, but certainly to get you prestige. Neymar and Oscar, I must say, have creditably risen to the challenge in terms of their desire to get into the game and on the ball, but they can't provide a key to the door as yet. Aroka.
I think Wilshere was the best player on the pitch in the first half. Neymar's been the best player on the pitch in the second. Two young players that got outstanding futures.
But the goals have come from seasoned campaigners, all three of them. Aroka. Felipe Luis, his touch, and he goes straight to Lampard for England. Scorer of, at the moment, the match-winning goal. Gerrard. Challenge bought by Milner, really. He knew if he got in front, the chances were that Dani Alves would bump him in the back, and the referee would blow, and England would move on with controlled possession again. Wilshere. Johnson. Looking for Lennon. It's the stick or twist situation now, isn't it, for England, whether to make sure they get across the finishing line. It's been so difficult for them against Brazil. Or to whether to try and make absolutely sure of that by getting another goal.
You know, it was good movement from Aaron Lennon, came short, the ball didn't go, and then tried to spin in behind Felipe Luis.
Held up by Fred. Gian. Right by Oscar. Dante. Aroca. Lucas and Dani Alves trying to come up with something down that far side, and in the end he scraped it wide with the left foot that connected so well for the goal. They might not get a better chance than that, Brazil, to level it up.
It was talked about Lucas. Here he does do well, plays a little 1-2 here, gets on the third man and then drive towards the box. England have to drop off. Just slips over as he gets control of the ball, Fred, but that was good movement from the right-sided player. Scolari, I think, is just telling Neymar to play through the middle with Fred.
Might just suit England to some extent. It'll probably stop him getting on the ball in the deeper positions where he has been threatening. They need a goal one way or t'other, Brazil. Would be only their fourth defeat against England. Their record in England hasn't been particularly great. Played 10, 1-2, drawn 6, lost 2. Rooney, Milner, taking Dante out of the middle and taking the ball out of play. Aroca, who has got nothing like the know-how of the man who's replaced Ramirez. Only his 8th cap, another of the Santos squad. Oscar. You see Neymar right up as you spotted Stuart, right up alongside Fred.
Had the ball been better then on the diagonal, he was in. I think that, as you said, may help England. Now it's easier to pick him up. Centre-halves can pick the time when to get tight to him, when to drop off of him.
There's Carlos Alberto Pereira, advisor to the Brazilian Federation. And reminding me, an old friend of mine, reminding me before the game that there is no hiding place when you're in charge of Brazil. And this will be not going down well in that country. England have a corner, they can wrap it up. There's some good contact if the ball comes in here, which it doesn't. Spins away to Wilshere, who perhaps understandably has been less of an influence in the second half. He had a splendid first 45 minutes and he's helped England build a different kind of platform in midfield for much of this second period. What have you made of it, Stuart? 4 minutes or so to go.
I think it's been a good performance from England. First 20 minutes, Brazil looked the stronger side. They passed it with a little bit of penetration. They created 1 or 2 chances. But once England started winning the ball back that little bit higher upfield, and they played little 1-2s around the Brazil's midfield, then they got that four men in midfield with Wayne Rooney coming that little bit deeper. I think it's been a decent performance for him, and they've defended quite well in the second half. Been quite so adventurous going forward. They were fluid in the first half. They got a more solid shape with Rooney playing right through the middle. I think Roy Hodgson will be very pleased with the way the players have carried out some of his instructions.
Mistake by Dante. It wasn't the best ball to him in the first place. Johnson quickly on the scene. Wilshere. Lampard. Baines roaring up on the outside, uses a decoy in the end, and it's a poor ball from Milner. A bit of room for Oscar. He shovels it on to Neymar in this more forward position. Cahill roaring across, Neymar gets past him. But Smalling made sure that no one got across in front of him, Fred in particular. Oscar, can Brazil fashion another late equaliser here, as they did in their only previous visit to this ground since it was rebuilt? It's Diego then. Fred's had a couple of sniffs at it, hasn't he? In the last 5 minutes, if he could have just reined that one in.
Well, he used his body very well then. He just got across the front of Smalling, tried to shield it and then turn, but all just got away from him. It'd be interesting to see how many of these Brazilian players will start when they have the World Cup in their homeland. There's one or two that will certainly be there. Neymar, Oscar. He's got to make some quick decisions, hasn't he, Scolari?
Yes, Dani Alves will probably still be around. He's only 29 and he's given him the full outing here. He's not a recalled senior player, he's stayed in the side. The ones that he's brought back haven't really covered themselves in glory. I suppose you could say Fred's a bit of an exception to that in that he scored a goal.
Had they done well in the Olympics, most of that team I thought would have been the starting side. That's what they were trying to build for.
Well, some would say they did do well in that they got the silver medal, but of course in Brazil, second is nothing.
But with the squad they had, they should have been destroying teams, and they didn't do that in the Olympics. Struggled through, playing with great fluency.
And ball by Rooney.
The pleasing thing for Roy Hodgson as well is that Theo Walcott's played as well as I've seen him play. Jack Wilshere ran the midfield in the first half.
Just been awarded, it's been announced, the sponsors man of the match here. Jack Wilshere. But it isn't done and dusted yet. This is Lucas. And again, England diving in that time. Fred trying to get a return pass to the still effervescent Dani Alves. 3 added minutes to come to the 20 seconds or so of regulation time.
I think that Roy Hodgson will be pleased with the way Rooney has played as the lone striker. Now he's dropped deep into midfield and allowed others to run beyond him, picking the right time to play as the furthest forward player and when to overload the midfield area.
Neymar, Oscar. He might move into a shooting position here, the Chelsea player, which he did. It's been rather that kind of night. Oscar and Neymar, I agree with you, Stuart, have been the ones that you think, well, they'll be in the team, certainly in the squad, but probably in the team. But not too sure about too many of the others.
He's really had a go, Oscar, in that midfield. He's changed positions several times throughout the game, and he's usually found the right pass. He's been one of the players that's closed the ball down as well, something you wouldn't associate with him particularly. I think as the year goes on, Lucas will be a regular in the side out on that right-hand side.
Cahill, despite that mistake, and Smalling got away with one as well. They've stayed through the 90 minutes, been given a real chance here by Roy Hodgson. to show what they're capable of. Glenn Johnson has only affirmed his status as a #1 right back. Neymar. Gerrard clears, Rooney chases. How often have we said that? Not very often in the 92nd minute of internationals, particularly friendly internationals. That point you made is a really valid one, that Roy Hodgson sees the prestige and the value in a victory over Brazil, and he knows he needs those pillars of his community in place right to the very end. And they're closing in. England on I think a merited result here. Certainly one that will have plenty of meaning in the England camp.
And we also have to give praise to Steven Gerrard, the performance he's put as the holding midfield player. Not many times he's played for England as the out-and-out holding midfield player. He's done the job really well.
We're into the last minute here. Brazil find a second equaliser in the dying embers. Let's get the ball into the England penalty area. Lucas. And in comes Neymar. A bit of a flick at it by Fred. Hart claims we shouldn't forget the penalty save. The whole psychology of the game might have changed if Brazil had taken the lead.
At a time when England weren't playing very well, has to be said, that first 20 minutes.
Retrieved by Miranda. Dante, referee's looking at his watch. It's a ball for Neymar to chase. This is surely the last passage of play of the evening. Neymar. Fred, back for Neymar again. Felipe Luis, the England fans imploring the referee to blow the final whistle. In by Gian, caught by Hart. England's night at Wembley. Joe Hart has the final touch of the ball. He had a very important double save at 0-0 before Rooney put them in front, when Hart kept out Ronaldinho's penalty and the follow-up. Brazil were gifted an equaliser through Fred, one of Scolari's half-time substitutes early in that second half. Frank Lampard, just shaking his hand there, came on as well and came up with the winning goal to remind everyone at Chelsea, and indeed around the world, that there's plenty of life left in his game. And England, after 23 years, have beaten Brazil again. They've done it by 2-1. Brazil, who got what should have been an early boost there. The referee Pedro Proença penalising Jack Wilshere just inside his own penalty area for handball. Penalty to Brazil.
Well, it's the only thing that went wrong for Jack Wilshere throughout the game. I think he's a bit unlucky here. He turns his back, it hits him on the hand, and the referee saw that as a deliberate handball and a penalty.
The recalled Ronaldinho, who's had fun and games with penalties in the past for Brazil, and unfortunately this is one of his poorer penalties. It was a better chance for him when it came off Hart, but even then he couldn't force it in. Brilliant work by the Manchester City and England goalkeeper.
Absolutely right. He almost dives past the first, and that's why it comes back into that area, but he gets that right hand onto it and cleverly does well. Whether he fouled Neymar or not, I'm not quite sure, but he does well just to put Neymar off.
And that really turned out to be a springboard for England, who didn't go behind in the game when they might have done, of course, Ronaldinho's aim had been truer. And foretaste of what was to come with some fine football, and Jack Wilshere at the heart of it. Danny Welbeck opting to go with his right when he might have had a better chance with his left foot.
Well, we saw this throughout first half. Rooney coming shorter, Wilshere making a forward run and providing the final pass. Welbeck just got underneath it there.
Wilshere rampaging forward again to his club colleague Walcott. Julio Cesar keeping out Walcott, but not Rooney, who ran the ball in the 26th minute to give England a 1-0 lead.
Well, there was a feature again, a 1-2 play between Wilshere and Rooney. Walcott making the run in behind the left back, Adriano. I thought he was going to lift it over the goalkeeper here. Cesar does really well, gets out quickly, but still has a lot of work to do there, Wayne Rooney, to finish that.
The best chance for Brazil to level before half-time came from a poor kick by Hart, some rather indeterminate defending by Ashley Cole in his 100th cap, and Neymar for whom it was a night of frustration, although in the second half he showed himself much more to the fore.
Well, the best two Brazilian players combining there. Oscar getting away from Ashley Cole. Good run from Neymar, not the finish though.
The concern for Brazil here was the shooting power of Steven Gerrard. Julio Cesar, England following up again. They couldn't turn it in.
Well, this was right at the start of the second half, and Steven Gerrard, he said he played as the holding player, but he stepped forward when the opportunity was there. And that just bounces in front of the goalkeeper. If it had been on Wilshere's left foot, I think he would have scored.
Well, this was the suicidal moment for England at the back, Gary Cahill in particular. Fred just on. Really caught that one well. 1-1.
Well, Gary Cahill, his first touch was it, but once he was closed down by Lucas, he tries to play it through him. He's got to either chop it back for Smalling or just play it wide. Just make sure you miss out Lucas. But he has two runners, so it's 3 against 2, and Fred does the right thing. Watch again how they hit the other two defenders, Smalling and Johnson, have to back off because they've got runners either side, and in the end Fred finishes it really well with his left foot.
Well, that was a disease that momentarily was catching. Smalling's back pass, Hart having to reach for it to kick it, bounces off Cahill. And that's how close, again, fine margins in matches. And Brazil, for a second time in the game, having the opportunity to take the lead.
There were 3 mistakes by England. That's a Smalling, and Cahill the last one. But he nearly made amends.
Gary Cahill, having got there, he'll be disappointed, as you can see, that he didn't score.
Watch the marking here from David Luiz. He's on the wrong side. He then tugs hold of Cahill's shirt. If the referee had seen that, he'd have had to give a penalty.
Around the hour mark, Theo Walcott was starting to torment Brazil. Mistake by Roca. And Frank Lampard doing what Frank Lampard does, scoring from midfield for club or for country.
Well, good play from Walcott, going inside and then outside. Rooney wins back the ball, and then an exceptional finish from Frank Lampard.
This was a lead that England were not to lose. Well, the facts of the matter, you can look at all the other stats in the smaller numbers, but it's the big numbers that matter from England's point of view. They've toiled so often against Brazil, come close a number of times, lost some important matches against them. This won't go down as the most important contest, of course, but in terms of the mood and morale of the England camp, it's an excellent victory, and Roy Hodgson will draw great heart from it. But for Brazil, the other side of the coin, the return of Scolari hasn't been a triumphant one. He came to Wembley, he talked about the England job that he might have had, but he's back in charge of Brazil, and they've been beaten here at this wonderful stadium in a pretty good game too. I hope you've enjoyed it with us. Until the next time, from Stuart Robson and myself, Martin Tyler, a very goodbye to you all.